welcome to the Siebel CRM 23.2 highlights. My name is Alex with Black Sheep IT Consulting and the Siebel Hub, your #1 provider for always up-to-date Siebel CRM training. So as you can see, the list of features in 23.2 is pretty small. Actually, it's non-existent since 23.2 is a no features update pack, which means there are bug fixes as usual, but no new features by Oracle. The Tomcat version is 9.065. We start documenting Tomcat version here. It's unchanged since 22.9. So the update path is the same as ever for any other Siebel update, so that hasn't changed as well. And still 23.2 is a viable candidate for installing or updating to. If you are on IP17 or higher, you are eligible to update to this package. And of course it will include all the innovation by Oracle since the 20.3 release, where the post-install database update and the repository upgrade were first released. So while there are no new features to talk about, I'll take a little bit of time to talk about one specific step of the process of updating to the latest Siebel CRM, such as 23.2. You will still have to run the MDE and post-install database update, so we have seen this diagram a lot. So let's focus on one particular step, the repository upgrade. So the repository upgrade is part of what Oracle calls the seamless repository delivery framework. It's optional, so you don't have to run it every time you update Siebel, unlike the post-install database setup. But it's interesting what it does. So if you choose to run it, you have a reason for that, because you want to uptake one or more of the non-mandatory features that Oracle includes in that release, or has included in the releases that you are jumping over, like you are updating from 20.6 to 23.2. That's actually quite a jump. So there might be a lot of features you want to pick up, and they are included in the repository upgrade. So you have figured it out from the release notes and other information, such as our video series. It's important to understand that the repository upgrade, despite the name repository, also imports schema changes, that is changes to tables and columns and indexes, that is new columns, new indexes, updated columns. It also imports seed data, that is mostly list of values, but sometimes system preferences or any administrative data that is either workspace managed, like list of values, or not workspace managed, like system preferences. Then it also can import, depending on the jump you do, there could be some manifest data. Manifest is for Siebel OpenUI. It's in the repository, but at the time of recording also not workspace managed. And then the namesake import is of workspace managed repository data. That is the stuff which goes into that integration workspace that you have to define since a few versions. So there is definitely a lot going on. So you might want to take a good backup of your development database before you run it, because it changes the schema, which is irreversible. It's not like, let's not deliver that workspace. You still have the schema changes. So here we have another perspective on the repository upgrade. So to recall, it's optional. You run it in the development environment, in the DR only, because that's where repository is modified. You run it after applying the MDE and running the mandatory post-install database update. The administrator will have to specify an integration workspace, so it doesn't go into main. That is no longer possible since a few versions. So you have a new integration workspace, which then has a developer workspace underneath, which has the new and updated workspace managed repository objects, which your developers must inspect and verify and rebase if necessary, and then subsequently deliver to the what I call the project workspace. It could be another integration workspace, or it could be main, so it depends on your setup. What's not in the repository still has to be migrated, so there's another challenge, running the migration application to include the seed data. And it's funny to know that the repository upgrade utility generates a datamic.inp file, which will go into your migration folder and then assists with the seed migration using the application data service with the migration application. So we have a video which you'll find the link in the description for. So when you plan to run the repository upgrade as part of your update, you have to take into account the time and effort that is needed to complete that separate step, additional step basically, and the time and effort needed increases with the time since your last update or your last repository upgrade. So for example, if you update from 20.6 to 23.2, that's a total of 32 months worth of new and updated features, that schema, seed, manifest and repository changes made by Oracle Engineering. So your developer team must invest time and effort to identify which of the changes made by Oracle are in actual conflict with your customizations. Now, the overlap will be pretty small, but it's not zero potentially. So if conflicts are found, they must be resolved, even if the decision is just, okay, what Oracle did is really cool and we accept that and we deliver that. But it could be, for example, think of a customer modified standard workflow process as an example, like the order management workflows, which got a lot of attention in the 22.12. So those changes would be included. So if you have modified those standard order management workflow processes, which Oracle also has modified, then you are, well, in a high potential conflict situation, as illustrated in the diagram. The bigger the gap you have to jump, the more Oracle has invested in Siebel CRM, and you get that investment by running the repository upgrade, but you also have invested time and effort to customize Siebel. And if those customizations clash, then of course you have additional effort to take to resolve these conflicts or to merge those changes made by both Oracle Engineering and your custom developers. Keep in mind that this potential conflict is mostly customer modified standard objects, which Oracle sees in their repository and you see in your repository. So it doesn't really matter if Oracle adds something new. Of course, that could introduce something that also is in conflict with what you did. So again, to summarize this, if you update to the latest Siebel release from an existing IP17 or higher, then you have to consider, do we run the repository upgrade or not? And if you run the repository upgrade, consider the impact it will have and be prepared for it and take necessary precautions. So how do you prepare for an update? And of course, there's Siebel Bookshelf, there's the What's New chapter, and coming from, let's stick with our example, 20.6, you have to read the What's New chapter of Bookshelf guides from 20.7 through all the guides of Siebel 21, all the guides of Siebel 22, including the guides of the release you want to go to. So that's currently 32 guides, well, 32 versions of Bookshelf to get the What's New chapter and read it and understand if that is relevant for you or not. So that's quite a lot of reading there, and of course it's recommended reading, it's good reading. But here we look at the Siebel Hub YouTube channel, and just a reminder, as you are looking at a video on this very channel, you probably know about it, but you maybe don't. So we have a playlist up here called Siebel CRM. Siebel CRM updates playlist on the Siebel Hub goes all the way back to any old version you might have of the modern Siebel infrastructure. So we start really at 18.7. First chapter we did on 20.9, and then there's a monthly video that you can watch to get the nitty-gritty of what's included in this update. And there's still a lot of videos to watch, but it might be more entertaining. And then as a next step to learn more about modern Siebel features and get your team prepared on the latest Siebel 23, the Siebel Hub stands at the ready with our always up-to-date Siebel CRM training curriculum that currently spans 15 courses with over 100 individual modules. So for example, check out the Siebel 23 Plus workshop, which has lots and lots of modules dealing with the modern infrastructure of Siebel IP17 and higher. And this training is guaranteed to be always up to date with the latest information. So for example, just take in the OCI AI services module, which covers the integration with the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure AI services that was introduced in 22.10, so just recently. So there's no better place on the internet to learn more about the current modern versions of Siebel CRM, either on a modular basis or by taking a full training as video training, or contacting us for more information about live training.